The most annoying thing I hear people say when it comes to child support, as a person who actually gets $0 in child support, haven't gotten money in years, a big thing that people get wrong is they'll say things like, all the child support money should go to the kids. It should be put on a card that can only buy diapers and things for the kids. Mothers are spending that money getting stuff for themselves. I'm going to use this as an example. There was a time, I think it was, 2011 or 12, I think. And I had been complaining to my coworkers about the fact that my ex-husband was not making his child support payments. He still doesn't. Mistake number one was telling my business to coworkers, but that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. And I forgot how the conversation even got started, but I'm talking about, his payment's supposed to come through today. A payment has not come through in years. I'm finally excited to be getting the help on my bills. So once the payment hit my account, I remember telling one of my coworkers who was a part of that conversation, and I was like, "Oh, the payment finally came through." I took my lunch break and I went and got me some gummy bears at a candy shop that was in the mall. So I come back and I'm chomping down on my little gummy bears. I think it was little sour gummy worms. And she's like, "Wow, you're really spending that child support money, aren't you?" At the time, her comment caught me off guard, and I'm not really quick-witted. And no, I'm not interested in what you would have said to her if you would have been in my situation, because I can't go back in time and do shit about it, and you actually don't know what you would have done. But she had just disregarded the whole conversation that we had about how I had to scrape money together to pay my rent, about how my light bill at the time was on a payment arrangement, about how I was stretching food to the 10th power to make it work, about how I could barely afford to pay my kids' lunch balance, how I was using literally every single dime that I made to go to paying bills and paying off payment arrangements. But she was stuck on the fact that I wanted to treat myself to some gummy worms. And in her mind, I was blowing my kids' child support money. Just a little treat for myself. I was blowing the child support money. And it just shows how ignorant a lot of people are. I heard somebody basically describe it correctly, how child support is really a reimbursement for money that the custodial parent has spent anyway. And the example that this creator used was, let's say you spent $200 on soccer practice, and then the non-custodial parent, their payment is $100. So they basically just reimbursed you for, a little bit of the money that you spent on providing something for this child. Also, people have watched way too many reality TV shows about celebrity ex-wives, and they think that everybody's child support payments are $50,000 a month. This is also why it annoys me when people say, if you get divorced, you get half the money, but the average person is not making enough money to where half of something is going to make any kind of difference in your life. And while I think that everybody should have a prenup, the average American is not making enough money to where you're just gonna walk away with $500,000 or some shit like that. It's basically, at the end of the day, just making sure that what's his is his, and what yours is yours, and whatever gender you marry, everybody gets to keep what they came in with. But it's not a situation where you're going to walk away with $1 million yacht. Like, a lot of us have unrealistic ideas of what we think certain things look like. With that being said, the average person is not getting this big chunk of child support money. At the end of the day, there are people getting as little as $25 a month in child support. And people will tell women, you shouldn't be getting your lashes done, you shouldn't be getting your nails done, you should be spending all that money on his. But if she's paid everything that's supposed to be paid and that child is taken care of, if she wants to get her lashes done, there is nothing wrong with that. People have all this smoke for women, but nobody is telling these lame ass dads, hey, instead of buying sneakers, you need to be paying your payments. Instead of putting new speakers in your car, you need to be making sure that your child has all the school supplies that they need. Instead of going on that golfing trip, you need to make sure that your kids have money on their account for their lunch. Hey, instead of you buying that sports memorabilia for your apartment, you need to make sure your kids have a new wardrobe for fall and winter because they grow out of stuff every season. Did you make your payment this month? But everybody has all the smoke for women, and we're policing women and telling women how to spend their money. Are there people who take advantage of things like that and they don't do what they're supposed to? Yeah, there are 100%. There are people who only want custody of their kids because they want to take that money and spend it on themselves and then do the bare minimum to get by for their kids. But most of the time, that is not what's happening. It's not so much women are being frivolous and spending the money on extravagant things and buying houses and cars with the money. The average woman is not getting that much or anything at all. Why are these men bitching and complaining about having to take care of their children? Why? If you bitch and complain about having to pay child support, you broke because of bad financial decisions. And you need to get your shit together. That is not your child's fault. That child is just as much as yours as it is the custodial parent. I once had a boss who worked full-time and had a whole nother job so that he can make his payments on time every month for all 5 of his children. He took pride in making sure that payment got to his ex on time. I never heard him say one bad thing about that woman. Not one bad thing. I never heard him make one complaint about having to make any of those payments. Most of the folks complaining aren't even making their payments on time, and they're not even paying a big enough payment to make a dent in anything. The average person might be able to get a gallon of milk and a dozen eggs off of the payment they get every month. If you're complaining and worried and paranoid about what that parent is doing with that money, all you're showing me is, 1, you're probably not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and 2, you need to get your shit together and do what you gotta do to make sure your child gets taken care of. It also shows me that you were a horrible fucking partner, and I'm glad they left you, because any sane person would not only want their kids taken care of, but if she's doing something to take care of herself, more power to her. You would have no problem with that. Long story short, if you want to treat yourself to some fucking sour gummy bears or gummy worms, you deserve to do that. Treat yourself.